brings, because I think TeebuL's the one that's going to have to make this crazy if he wants to have a chance. Let's kick this off to the bottom left of 2,000 Atmospheres, our blue Terran player from Dragon Phoenix Gaming. It is Cure.
And spawning over in the top right, the newcomer to the season finals, it is TeebuL. I like the way that TeebuL's approaching this finals, though. He's like, you know what, got absolutely nothing to lose. I'm really happy with what I've done so far, winning the Oceanic region, coming to the finals. It's just a lot of fun, really, to be here. And the fact that he is studying full-time kind of thing, especially a difficult field like he is doing, I think he's already done more than well for himself. And the fact that he almost took that first game off trap as well, I'm just excited to see what he can pull out here.
Yeah, no, like you say, it's one of those things where obviously a lot of people from like Oceanic have come in and said, you know, I'm the underdog, but you know, when Probe shows up, he kind of is expected to at some point take a map or two, right, and win a series. But TeebuL really is like the guy who's just never been here before. People have really like no expectations on him. And yeah, like you say, in the first game against Trap, he got himself into that great position, messed it up a little bit. Maybe if you can kind of, you know, create something similar this time around, maybe get something going early for himself and just keep it cool going through those early stages and getting into an advantage and making use of it. Well, it's possible. We'll see if Kira is just going to play. I mean, it's very possible as well that Kira just plays super safe, right? Like double gas like he's doing now, factory before you expand. Just make sure there is no way you're going to run into trouble in the early game.
Yeah, I mean, we can't forget about some of Cure's games in GSL. I mean, I won't forget that 3 Racks Reaper attempt they did against, I think it was Trap maybe, but kind of looked like it was maybe doing something, but then it kind of fell apart a little bit. But yeah, TeebuL called it. He's like, yeah, Cure can play a little bit dirty in this matchup, which he absolutely can, but he's got that solid macro game behind it all, which means he's just a complete player. But if you get to flip that switch a little bit, where you make the Protoss feel a bit uncomfortable, like this double gas opening, all of a sudden, you know, the ball's not in your court anymore.
Yeah, I like it. From Kira's point of view, he's going to take control early. He's going to be the one putting pressure on. He's the one that's going to try and make TeebuL make an early game mistake, and that he can then capitalize on it. And in Kira's mind, that's just the easiest way to win a series when he's going to be the favorite player. TeebuL has got that one probe down the south side. We'll see if anything comes of it, as we do add on an additional gateway. And for the moment, it looks like TeebuL's setting up just to deal with a little bit of initial pressure. Maybe the bottom side probe gets a pylon for some counter pressure, because obviously 3 gates against someone who's building a lot of Hellions early, that can do okay.
Yeah, absolutely depends on what his follow-up is. We do see a reactor now in that barracks, getting the starport down. But you got to remember, at this point in time, TeebuL is technically ahead economically, but he has stopped probe production. And he's going up to 3 gateways here. A couple of shield batteries going down as well. Like, playing very, very defensive, very hesitant, but I think he might just launch the absolute big attack here, which it could actually do something.
Yeah, it really, really could. He just has to keep it together back at home at the same time. Really make sure you just don't take too much damage. The probe comes in, just going to nibble that SCV. But at the same time, here comes Double Reaper, and the shield battery is not up yet, so this should be a couple of kills perhaps, as he knocks the grenade in a good way as well. So he's going to get 2, he's going to get 3, and these probes are still chasing the Reapers. Get back to your shield battery already. He didn't need to lose anywhere near this amount of workers, and that's 5 workers down. There must have been the Hellion and the Natural too, right? Because did the Reapers kill 5?
I'm not sure, Wardy. I think they might have done, but this is a real big scout from Cure, seeing this pylon over here. So it wasn't a proxy gateway or anything like that, but, you know, Cure, already with a couple of Widow Mines. That is juicy. Yeah,
that just makes it so you have to give up units to actually attack in, and that takes away TeebuL's aggression immediately. So now you're down on probes. You're down on tech because you haven't built tech, right? You're just kind of on gateway units. And this game starts to look worse and worse and worse already for TeebuL as that Hellion goes down. It had 0 kills. Turns out it was just the Reapers. They just killed those probes really quickly.
Yeah, I was wondering why he chased so hard. I felt like just running away to the far left middle line, but, you know, it's a high-pressure situation. How many people are watching right now? Maybe these things are on his mind, but also nothing left to lose. He's in the loser match, or the lower bracket match, against Cure, of all people. I mean, it's a crazy spot to be in for TeebuL.
It really is. Raven on the way up, Kira is really just leaving no option for TeebuL to get back into this. In case DTs show up, he'll be ready. He's getting a tank. This Widow Mine drop will move out, and the Stalkers will see it. Now, you can keep moving here as Kira because TeebuL opened with extra gateways, which he knows, so there's no blink for a very long time. So this Widow Mine drop can continue through. He's actually going to unload here, and TeebuL needs to recognize that and not lose Stalkers. That's obviously the worst thing you can do, as Kira will go and take both of them. Now, you don't have high ground vision, so you've just got no idea this is happening.
Cure's playing very cute. Like, he's not really doing anything wrong whatsoever. Like, The scouting's been clean. The choice of build that he's done as well in their first game of the series also sets the pace for the rest of the series, but he's just made TeebuL feel so uncomfortable, and TeebuL talked about it. He's like, if you throw something weird at me, I'm going to throw something way weirder at you, and so far, just not panning out for him.
Yep, here comes the Widowmine drop. TeebuL must respond to this. He's going to pull the probes. The Stalker's coming in, and the probes are going to take maybe a couple shots. You lose a couple, and then the medevac gets rid of, gets away with one of them. One Widowmine down, and obviously that's just going to be annoyance for later as Cure. At this stage, he'll be set up to push if he wants to as well. I mean, I guess at this point you're waiting for Stim as well, but I mean, let's look how late the blink is for TeebuL. That means that when the Stim push comes, there's going to be no no charge ready. I mean, it really just looks as though TeebuL is in a world of trouble.
It's super bad for him. Like, super duper bad. I don't know what kind of units are out right now for Cure, but he's been powering ahead. No third CC and no probe pull. That could have been worse. That could have been worse. But when we're looking at this and it's like, it wasn't that bad for TeebuL. But anything that happens for TeebuL that's negative right now is just an extra nail in the coffin.
Being kept on an equal work account all this time. He is getting the gateway count going. He's getting a forge. It's just, I'm really worried about the countdown to the +1 attack, the combat shields. And again, I just don't think you get charge up before combat shields is done. There's an initial push. I like that TeebuL goes Dark Shrine because I feel like it's one of those scenarios where you kind of need something that will maybe, if you can hold, then also deal damage back across the map. But of course there is a Raven, so that's going to help out, offensively for Q. He won't have to scan on offense, so you can have scans on defense. It just feels like everything is such a long shot at this point.
This could be a little bit cute, getting a blink into the main. That's what he's going for, and he sees that tank exposed, but it's almost like a bait from Cure here, and he will grab a few of these Stalkers, and my goodness.
Yeah, well, that would have been a cute blink if Cure wasn't so ready for it.
I wonder if that was a true bait, Seeing that Phoenix hallucination, obviously.
Yeah, the tank.
By the way, I've been playing quite a bit of AoE 4 recently. This wall off that he's got going, very reminiscent for me, Wardy, gotta be said. Because that is crikey a wall.
Well, even is that protected against? It's like, just in case they don't somehow kill the DT in the first 5 minutes attacking the wall off.
Yeah, I think it was like made for a massive charge all in it.
Yeah.
If it was ever to come. Because, I mean, if you're not against Blink Stalkers, I think building a wall is never really a bad thing. But, I mean, TeebuL is just bleeding out units here. And that army, I mean, Cure's bulletproof this game.
Yep, bulletproof and very good offensively as well. Okay, the anti-armor missile goes down. That was a perfect strike as well. Hits everything. Force fields will buy you a little bit of time, but the sentries are more or less out of energy. Maybe one force field remains. We're going to get the Widow Mines above the tanks. And there should just be a stim in from Cure. There is a little flank from the Zealots. That is cute. I mean, that's exactly what you would like to have. It's just not really going to matter, right? You're going to get rid of the tanks, but there's so many bio units remaining. +1 attack's now going to kick in as well, so reinforcements from TeebuL are just not going to be that great either. But now he's got the super battery. We drop an order turret as the Raven goes down, so maybe now you could warp in some DTs and hope a little bit as well. Just Cure has so much anyway, and of course he'll have reinforcements coming across the map soon as well.
And look at that bank from TeebuL. He can't spend his money. I mean, Cure right now, he's in his face, and TeebuL just isn't prepared. He tried to cut some corners here to get back into it, but just wasn't enough, and GG. Cure, very decisive in game 1.
Really, TeebuL kind of seemed like he had a plan, and Cure was just like, oh, the only way I lose this game is if you attack into me and counter-attack and deal damage. And he didn't send the Widow Mines out. He just kept them at the front, used them to defend. He got a Stalker. Everything from Cure in this game felt as though it was just another step towards being safe to get to that point where he's got the upgrades, he's got the tanks.
Yeah.
And at that point, maybe if TeebuL plays like a mega greedy game, at that point that push comes, you can maybe actually overwhelm it. But because he played with an aggressive opening that did nothing at all, you just end up in a really bad position, and it was very apparent for a long time where this was going to go. Yeah,
the through gateway, I kind of like the idea, but the fact that Cure was so ready prepared with those 2 Widow Mines and the bunker, I mean, that was unbreakable. And those Reapers early on, I think that was, this here, the shield battery is literally going to finish. It's no probes can die anymore, technically. So the fact that he's still chased here and it's just, boom, as many kills as possible.
Just killed 5 probes so quickly. It felt like the second probe died so fast. This was honestly a bait from Cure, right? He unsieges the tank. He's like, yeah, you come blink into my main. And then he just kills every Stalker. And the Zealot flank was good. Again, if this game had, maybe gone a bit better for TeebuL early, moves like that are how you win the game, right? You clean this army up with an amazing flank, and you're in a good position, you counter-attack, etc., but you can't do it from that far behind.
Yeah, it was a game of numbers at that point, and Cure he knew he was ahead, and he did a normal push for where if this was a game where we're both even, it can get close, but the fact that he was so far ahead. And you're right, nice flank attempt by TeebuL, but everything went wrong from that point on. And I mean, that 3-gate attempt as well, he cut probes to do it, then all the tech's behind as well. You get away with you can get away with murder from that point, and the fact that he was still doing damage with that with a mine drop. Just great play all around from Cure here. Second map, can't remember what it will be exactly, but I think we now have some of the newer maps coming in.
Yeah, I would imagine so. I'd be surprised to see Blackburn be map number 2, right?
Pride of Altaris actually made it into the third, as they decided. So Berlingrad. Okay. We haven't seen that too much so far.
No, we haven't. I actually like this map a lot. When it was in the TLMC, it was like, in my eyes, it was a very underrated map because it didn't have like big splashy kind of cool games, but it didn't have like dreadful games. You know, it went under the radar, which to me says it's like a good map because it's just the games are normal, the games are standard in a tournament that's like to test new maps. So I've always kind of liked Berlingrad. I thought it was pretty cool. Let's see if the man in the bottom right in the red can bring this back from Genesis Gaming. We've got TeebuL.
And spawning over in the top left, it is Cure. Cure probably thinking to himself, like, how did I get myself into this position? Like the lower bracket game to start things off. It is funny, like a lot of players, after doing well in the GSL, when it comes to the international tournaments, it can feel like, I don't want to say they've fallen off because that's not true at all, but you'd expect them to carry on dominating everything, but you can definitely tell that the foreigners definitely can keep up with the very best.
You know, Cure for me had a real kind of, to that point, like effect when he lost in GSL finals against TY and he got second. He really took a break from the game for like a couple of weeks and it was very apparent, and it seemed to affect him for a long time because for 2 or 3 months after that, it's like, Cure, he just got second in GSL and he's out in groups and he didn't qualify and this and that, and he just didn't look good. And kind of for like a week after GSL, I was like, wait a sec, Cure, you know, you're not playing the best here. You know, you didn't have the greatest of games and a couple of the Korean qualifiers going on. But it did feel like he stepped it up again towards this event coming through. But you lose against Scarlet, and like you say, there you are. You're in the lower bracket. Trap loses against Scarlet, and now you've got 2 of the very best from Korea going up against each other in a decider match, most likely. Sorry, TeebuL, but I know that it's a little bit rude to talk as though it's already going to happen, but I mean, it kind of feels like an inevitability.
Yeah, I mean, for real, like these 2 came top 4 in the recent GSL season, I do believe. Just talking about their stats, by the way, Cure versus Trap, who would you say has won the most between them, like in the last 5 series?
Last 5 series, Cure.
Oh, wow, you were right. It's like 4-1 or something for Cure, which I didn't
dominantly so.
Yeah, so the fact that he was kind of like, oh, I don't want to play against Trap, like he's obviously the best Protoss in PvT, and it's like, Cure, you've actually been kind of owning him recently. Like,
yeah.
But, you know, you can never count Trap out, that's the thing.
You know, Trap's one of those funny players because I feel like when Trap first, like, really kind of stepped it up a bit, it was like, you know, it kind of felt as though Trap was like the best PvT in the world, and we said that a lot. And while that was very true then, his PvT really felt like it dropped off while he fixed his PvZ. And not that it's bad, but it's definitely not dominant like it used to be, and yet sometimes we still have that opinion of like, oh yeah, Trap PvT, you know, does he lose those? Yeah, actually to Cure kind of a lot of the time.
Yeah, like Cure, he definitely has his own spice on things when it comes to TVP. I mean, just doing this kind of build. By the way, I didn't even realize how good this map is for the Reapers getting in and out.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking to myself, Clem really likes this map. He's obviously really good with Reapers. A few jump up spots here. But Cyril really liked it too. But here, it's like, okay, it starts to make a lot more sense why you want... Oh, he actually cancelled the Stargate here. That's a big deal.
Yeah, gonna switch it up a little bit into that Twilight Council quickly, but you've got 2 Reapers in that Hellion, so you're gonna get the rescout anyway. The Reapers are gonna help to kill a probe a little bit faster on the low ground. Now what we're gonna do is one Adept already shaded. We're gonna dive for the main base. That Adept shade isn't moving, so the Reapers will get through and will go for at least another probe kill. They get it, and obviously they are walled into the back here, so this will be one more probe, and that Reaper is then stuck and it will go down. But the Hellion's still running around on the natural, and of course full scout, so you see the Twilight Council coming in. You know exactly what's going on all of a sudden as Cure, and you've killed some probes. You're only 2 workers behind. It feels great.
You know what's super cool? Like this Viking that he's still making. Because I thought that was like an answer to the Stargate, but he's still doing it. So I wonder if he's just thinking, all right, I'm going to eventually land that in the probe line and just do damage that way. Because I think that's super cool by Cure, not to cancel it or just to carry on with it. But here, TeebuL's looking for a bit of counter pressure here, but Cure looks like he's okay. Actually, oh, he didn't go for it.
Yeah, it doesn't commit. I mean, It's scary, right? Because what if something like a bigger push is ready to go, you throw your Marines away, a mine's there or something. It can be a tense moment as he's going to kind of come up and down again. This time he goes for the Widow Mine. Not a bad choice in the moment. He just didn't quite get there. As Kyo will get one and then two Adepts. He retargeted that into the middle one, right?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, that was cute.
Like you saw TeebuL splitting off the first one there.
Yeah.
And then he tried to get the last hit on the Widow Mine. It was like, oh, can't do it. Losing 2 Adepts for nothing there. Wait, where was that Viking? Was it in the main, just landing randomly?
He did pull it back initially to defend. I think he's afraid of a Warp Prism already, right?
I think he might be, you know. Or he's just got it in a position where he thinks the Observer could come
I think
back.
he's afraid of DTs, because he's like, why are you trying to trick me, canceling a Stargate into Twilight? You're probably going to go DT, so he's like, shut down the Prism, then get my Raven up, and then maybe the Viking ends up going across the map like you initially mentioned. I guess that makes sense, because the moment you shut down that Prism, DTs are so much less annoying in this matchup early game.
Yeah, I like the way that Kyo's playing, it's really cool, man. Like, the damage that he's getting done early on just means that he's not economically behind with the 2 gas opening, which is cool. Here, this scout is fairly big. Seeing that Twilight Council, but the Forge, I feel the Forge is the really big deal here.
Yeah. Just being able to know that you have intentions of macroing up rather than just going for like a massive all-in, it really does tell Kyo, like, okay, I don't need to be as cautious. I roughly know what you're going to do. Maybe I can even push myself. And as Kyo actually sees that Observer, and TeebuL kind of realizing that, pulls it a bit further back. Has a few Stalkers, but there's just nothing to do here. If you blink up, the bio units are there. Yeah, TeebuL starts the +1 attack upgrade. Do you like the attack upgrade when you're playing like Stalker Charge Lord? I much prefer armor, I feel like, because those Zealots, to me, they need to stay alive as long as possible.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that one. This Viking finally getting some damage done, and I mean, 3 probes, I think that's already kind of okay, honestly. Never mind this lost mining time, and
they're gone.
Yeah, what a great little Viking, the Viking that could. But talking about the attack and armor upgrade, it's always been one of these things for me. Like, armor, if you think about just the direct fight with the bio, like, but then you take the Widow Mines into the equation as well. If you can potentially get an extra hit on a Widow Mine, that means it's going to die with that attack upgrade. It's never going to be a bad thing. Whereas the armor can always be like, oh, I just lost all my Zealots to the Widow Mine. So I understand why Protosters do go for it, but yeah, I'm with you on the armor front. I tend to find it is more useful.
Yeah, I think just in this situation where it's like you're relying on the Zealots to keep the Immortals and the Stalkers alive anyway. Yeah, it is interesting. To me, this feels like he wants to go into Colossus, right? But then there's just no Robobay on the way. These Stalkers are dead, so that's obviously not pretty. And there's just 8 Zealots warping in, which is what we expect. An Observer that will live for the moment. But of course, I think Kyo wants to get across the map, so he's not going to spend too long chasing. And those Zealots are setting up for a counterattack. I mean, that could be really cool, but it's 8 Zealots, not going to be in your army. That's 16 supply. That's like a third of his army right now, just on the map, not part of this fight.
Yeah, and so what are his big units right now? He's got Immortals out, and
he's got 2, I think.
I'm curious how Kyo's going to do this. Is he just going to shut down the Immortals? Is he going to go for turrets? That's a real question here, but I mean, doesn't really matter at this point.
Do you need to use the Raven?
No, he doesn't. Look at that. That sad little Immortal there. Crab walking away. Does actually get away. These Zealots are doing something, but this Widow Mine shot, 2 Widow Mine shots, kind of juicy.
Yeah, it's decent, right? I mean, SCVs have to pull. This is a bit chaotic for Kyo, but he's already got the 3rd. He's continuing through, and this... Did this bio army just multiply while we looked away? Because it feels like it's so much bigger than it was before. 4 Widow Mines like, wait, we're meant to burrow? Oh, okay. And now all these Zealots warp in, and they're going to start going off and just hitting a couple of them. Yeah, I mean, it's just way too much. The power here... I mean, this is where armor would help you a little bit more, obviously. Too far gone either way, but... GG's, Kyo gets the 2-0.